come back from it, and then they lose. There is no margin for error in the playoffs, basically. I mean, there's either zero, depending on how good you are, or very little. I mean, it's that close in the playoffs. Okay? And some of you might say, well, they got Matt Ryan, they got Michael Turner, but it still doesn't matter, because Michael Turner, off of 13 carries, only got 17 yards. Jacquizz Rodgers, 10 carries, 49 yards. Where's the running? Okay? Tampa Bay had so many opportunities today. It wasn't even funny. Okay? It was that bad for Tampa Bay. That bad. And then to make it, what was even worse is the 5 penalties for 24 yards. My goodness. I mean, I saw this game and I was just completely, I was wondering, how did Tampa Bay collapse again? I mean, they don't typically collapse a lot, but to me, I think they're a playoff team, but they really needed this football game. Okay? And unfortunately, how can this football team, and look, at Noser83 says, I'm on board with you on Atlanta. They're an unproven team. The question is, one will continue. The question is, one will continue to be, can they win a playoff game? I totally agree. It's because they put themselves in these droughts. They put themselves in these holes where they're stuck. They're stuck, and then they don't know what to do, because when they get in desperation mode in the playoffs. They get down. They don't start off well. They get into the fourth quarter in the second half, and they just start. It's all desperation because they're down by 3 touchdowns. And when you're down by 3 touchdowns in the playoffs, it's so hard to win. I mean, there are only very few teams who can possibly make those comebacks. And I don't see any of those teams right now in the NFL. I mean, there was the comeback with the, Houston Oilers and the Buffalo Bills, 35-3. Okay. But that's rare. Atlanta's not that team. Okay? Atlanta's not going to do that in the playoffs. I mean, not consistently. So, please, don't look at this as controversial. Look at this as, I'm being completely honest here. Atlanta is honestly not a consistent football team. Yes, they've only lost 1 game this year. Yes, they're 10-1. But how do they win? That's what matters. That's what I care about. People say a win's a win. I've never believed that. In my entire life, on this show, anywhere you go, I say it matters how you win football games. Because if you just think a win is a win, in the regular season you're right. But in the playoffs, when you're not going to be able to play a certain way and you're going to struggle, how do you win? What do you do? How do you do it? That's what matters to be in the Super Bowl. Because you're not going to win by pure luck. I mean, go ask the Denver Broncos last year. I mean, they didn't play any complete football. Did they win a Super Bowl? No. Because why is Tim Tebow always criticized? Why is Tim Tebow not that great? Because he doesn't play a consistent football game. He doesn't play consistent football for 60 minutes. Well, and he doesn't have quality mechanics, but that's the main issue. Alright. You know what? Let's move on to... I think this is going to be the last game. Yeah. It's going to be the last game we're going to discuss. Colin Kaepernick. First starting day... Well, yes. Starting debut. Colin Kaepernick today against the New Orleans Saints. Squaring off against Drew Brees. On the road. At the Superdome. Everything going against him. Many wondering if he has any chance to win in the shootout. He does. And look, first of all, before I move on, I want to just say this real quickly. I feel really bad for Alex Smith. Like, I'm not kidding with this. I'm not... Sincerely, to the bottom of my heart, I wanted personally, and I know this is a terrible thing to say, personally, I wanted Alex Smith to be the starter. I did not want at all Colin Kaepernick to be the starter. Because, and I'll tell you why before I get to my analysis. Alex Smith has gone through the ringer as a professional. Colin Kaepernick, he needs to go sit on the bench and let time develop. I want to see Alex Smith possibly get to the Super Bowl. With all that he's been through, with all the hard work that he's put in. And I know it's a harsh business. I know it's a cruel, cruel business. But you can... I know, look, I respect what Jim Harbaugh rather is doing professionally. And I know it's the best for his team. But personally, I put in Alex Smith. I mean, that's what I want personally. Let's get back to the analysis though. Colin Kaepernick played extraordinary. Okay, and some of you might say, wow, those weren't wow stats, 1 TD, 1 pick. He had actually 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown, but it was his poise in the pocket that surprised. I mean, I know he's been labeled as a, running quarterback, and people are saying, wildcat quarterback, but this guy has great poise in the pocket. He does excellent, accurate throws. Stepping into them. Good decision making. I really like the way this guy plays. He brings an athletic dynamic to this football team. It's really with his running ability. I think he's a really solid player for this football team. Drew Brees, on the other hand, and I say this a lot of people usually don't agree with me on this. You don't have to agree with me on this, but Drew Brees is he can be a guy who's turnover prone. Yes, he throws a lot of yards. Yes, he does throw a lot of touchdowns, but he can get a little desperate at times and throw some interceptions. Especially last year, it showed. Okay. By the way, we just got a tweet right here. Want to share with you real quickly by @Noser83. Thank you for all the contributions. The NFL playoffs at the end of the season are going to look like the MLB playoffs. If you get in, you have a chance to win it all. Wide open hashtag. I agree with you. It's that I don't think there's a dominant team in the NFL. One team that can go out there and beat out everybody. There's not that team yet. And it's going to be very interesting in these playoffs. I totally agree with you. It's going to be one of the best playoffs in my opinion. But getting back to my point, great poise in the pocket for Kaepernick. Brees was a little desperate. San Francisco's a ball-hawking defense. Credit to San Francisco for their turnovers that they created today. And I have to say, the Saints really, defensively, and some people say they might have a chance of the playoffs, but I don't know. They are so bad on defense. That when their offense is not clicking, they're only a one-dimensional football team. And I don't think in this year, in this season of the NFL, you can't be one-dimensional. If you want to be successful in the NFL this year, it's about being a complete football team. Maybe last year you could win solely on being one-dimensional. But here, you can't. You have to be a complete football team this year. Saints simply don't have it. And Darren Sharper, I believe. I want to... Darren... Sharp... No, not Darren Sharper, my bad. I don't know why I was thinking of number 42, but... I was wondering... with the Saints... How they're so... They're credited so much. They're credited so much, the Saints. But their defense is atrocious. Why? Why are people always saying, oh, this is going to be a really hard game against the Saints? If you stop their offense, they've got nothing. Okay? If they're on the road, they're not that great. I mean, today they were at home, fortunately for them. So, yeah, I don't think the Saints are honestly that great of a football team, and to me, I don't think they're making the playoffs at all. All right, it's the end of the program, but I think I'll give you a little bit more time. And you can interrupt me, okay, while I'm talking. I'm perfectly fine. I'll take one more call or one more comment on Twitter or anything you guys have to say. I just heard a crazy report. Fireman Ed quits. Yes, Fireman Ed steps away. Let me read you this article from the Metro in New York. www.metrous. Ed Anzalone had this to say in his article. On Thanksgiving night, I left the Jets before halftime. This was the second time in a row I left before there were 4 zeros on the clock. We've had much worse teams than this, and I had never left before. I pride myself in that because I am not a quitter. I decided to leave Thursday because the confrontations with other Jets fans have become more common, even though most Jets fans are fantastic. By the way, those are not my words. This is the article. Obviously, I don't believe that. I think Jets fans are a little bit on the weird side. And that's just my opinion, but my opinion doesn't really count in this article. Okay. This is an indication of how society has lost and is continuing to lose respect for one another. The stadium has become divided because of the quarterback controversy as well. The fact that I choose to wear a Mark Sanchez jersey this year and that fans think I am on the payroll, which is an outright lie, have made these confrontations more frequent. Whether it's in the stands, the bathroom, or the parking lot, these confrontations are happening on a consistent basis. Also, I can, quote, hold my own. I do not want to lose my temper and make a stupid mistake. I'm responsible to the families and kids that enjoy the game and Fireman Ed. I've enjoyed my time in chanting the greatest chant in all of sports. I have enjoyed meeting all the wonderful Jets fans around the world and look forward to the day we can all raise a Lombardi trophy as one and celebrate a world championship down the Canyon of Heroes. I will always love the Jets because they are in my heart, and I will attend games as usual, not as Fireman Ed. God bless. And as always, let's go Jets. By the way, Ed Anzalone is Fireman Ed. This was an article written by him in the Metro. Okay,